From a banking perspective, we are very, very used to innovation. We're used to changes, partly because of changing regulations. The landscape is continuously changing, and also partially because we have to keep up with competitors, and therefore we do have to introduce new products and services to obviously compete appropriately. What I will say is the recent changes in innovation, particularly with generative AI, is what we have certainly noticed within the business is the enthusiasm for change, shall we say. I think previously there was very much a thought that, okay, this is a change that we have to make because of a regulatory requirement. This is a change that we have to make to be competitive. Now I think a lot more people can see the benefits, the broad range of benefits as well, that innovation is bringing, and how much more it could simplify their processes and how much more quickly they could do things. And as a result of that, we're getting a lot more requests, and we're getting a desire to get things done very at a higher speed than we've ever been asked to get done before. And that's, I think, not just from the business level, but it's a top-down, like, why can't we do this now? Because there is this view that actually, if you don't move as fast as your competitors, then you won't be able to compete in the same space. Yeah. And that's not just in banking. I think that's very much the case also in the technology space as well. So yeah, I think it's more about that. And alongside that obviously comes, are we comfortable that we are taking enough time to assess the risks of moving ahead? Because there is very much a case of the technology is still developing. We don't know how interoperable it is with other things that are going on, and we just might not have had enough time to think it through.
Yeah, no, that's a huge theme. So I know we've had organisations talking about the compliance timeline for bringing new AI online sometimes used to take 18 months, and they want to get that down to 18 days. So you can imagine what that means in terms of trying to filter through all the issues, not just privacy, but things like ESG, decarbonisation, massive issue, and everything else that AI touches. So there is a lot of evolving legislation, not just in the EU, but if you even look in the EU, there is so much going on at the moment, right? And we heard people talk about that yesterday. So DSA, DMA, cyber issues, everything else as well. But you've also got similar things going on in the US, in China, in other regions around the world. And the question is, how do you handle it? So this is just a tiny snapshot of some of the sort of global laws around AI only, not even touching some of the other issues in the digital package. Mm-hmm. So Reena, how do we build a compliance program when we think about all of these things?
It's a big question. So look, in terms of the regulation, I think there's a bit of a double-edged sword here. I think everyone as an individual should be grateful for this legislation. It's there to, enhance, protect individuals. It's there to increase competition, making sure that we have better products and services offered to us. It's there for encouraging ethical practices. No issues with that whatsoever. From a business perspective, though, if I could have a quick show of hands, how many people here would be comfortable with all of their data about everything they're doing being in a single database?
Good.
There you have it.
Good answer.
Thank you. And that proves the point. So it doesn't matter how much regulation necessarily is put into place. We are encouraged as companies to put a load of operational and compliance factors into play. We're asked to do things to protect, but until we build the trust itself, we're essentially spending a lot of money and resources on things that are not being taken up. So if I can give one example, and that is, for example, open banking. It was seen as a success, certainly by the regulators. We put in APIs, we did everything we're meant to be doing as banks. However, the uptake from a consumer percentage, it's single-digit uptake percentage-wise of how many people actually use this. And if you speak to people as to why that is, they're just not comfortable. They're not sure that it's sensible to have all of their financial data in one place. And this sort of touches on your point regarding security and having a personal digital passport. We have certainly got or have experience with third parties who want to help in this process, and they want to create innovation, and they want to say, we'll hold people's AML data and we will verify that we have that AML data so that all of you banks don't have to go and get all that data separately. We'll just verify that we've got it on file, and it sort of alleviates that issue. Great, it's super quick for us. It means, it's a much more streamlined process for the end user. However, what happens when that company has a breach? And inevitably, I've heard of at least 2 recently that have had breaches. So there are these risks that no one can really do anything to mitigate. And unfortunately, it's one of those things that as fast as technology advances, as fast as regulation to protect individuals and their data advances, the bad actors' technology is also advancing. And so it's having that balance for us.